All right, guys and gals, it's about that time of day again here, folks. Newsletter time. Joseph James here. School of Trade, Sideways Markets. It's your nightly newsletter. It is Tuesday evening, October 21st, 2014. World Series begins here this evening. Who you guys got for the World Series right now? Boy, I'll tell you, I'm liking the fact that we got the Kansas City Royals. Last time I checked, I didn't even think they still had a team over there in Kansas City. Awesome to see them back in the World Series here. It's been like 150 years. So, boy, it feels good to be seeing World Series baseball back on television tonight. Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday here so far. Boy, we had a great day today. Easy money on the E-minis. Obviously, E-minis caught a bid this morning. Gold went higher, although still checking to see a pulse on that gold market right now. We'll take a look at that in a moment. And, of course, you got crude. You know, if you're looking for a trend right now on crude, good luck. It's been floundering around, and we've made all our money on crude, buying lows, selling highs, avoiding the middle. Guys and gals, we have a jam-packed newsletter in store for you guys tonight. Big news out of Europe overnight. Big disappointing news out of China overnight. We'll talk about all that stuff here in a moment. Before we jump into our charts, before we kickstart the newsletter here for October 21st, that means we're only 10 days away from Halloween. Boy, I'm excited about that holiday. Want to remind you guys, get over here to sidewaysmarkets.com. Watch the video. Hiccups. Make sure you watch the video on our blog here at sidewaysmarkets.com. If you're watching the video on our YouTube page or some other place on the World Wide Web, make sure you get over here to Sideways Markets. If you're on the YouTube page, there'll be a link below the video here to take you back to the page. 3 reasons why you got to get over here to Sideways Markets. 3 things here tonight. Right below the video, you'll see a link here to download all of my charts. Every chart that I'm going to talk about today, including bonus charts, are going to be ready for you to download and use in your own trading tomorrow, whether you join me in my trade room or not. Second thing, upper left-hand corner here, you might be wondering what it feels like to be a student in our trade room every day. I have a special free pass for anyone curious about that. If you're not a member yet of School of Trade, I'm wondering why you're not a member yet, guys. We're the fastest growing, longest running trading education website. We had one of the first trade rooms on the planet back before YouTube was even YouTube, right? Grab a copy of that free pass, upper left-hand corner, and we'll show you all about it. Last but not least, third thing here, right above my ugly mug, I know, sorry about that, don't mean to distract you on that. Got an email list here for our nightly newsletter. Give me your name and your email address. I'm going to send you a copy of that nightly newsletter. That way you never have to wonder when will the newsletter be sent out that night. Usually get it out about 8 o'clock Eastern time. That way you've got plenty of time to get it ready for the next morning. So recap, 3 things here. First, right below tonight's video, download all the charts. Have those ready for tomorrow. Number 2, upper left-hand corner. You got a free pass to come out in the $10 live trade room. And, of course, last but not least, number 3, email newsletter mailing list. Give me your name and your email address. Guys, if you join the free pass or if you join the newsletter mailing list, don't forget to check your email. I'm going to send you an email to confirm you are not a robot. All right? You ready to rock and roll? All right, guys. Let's get started here. Looking at the E-mini Russell here, my favorite of all the stock index futures, right? Why is it my favorite? Well, it's got great moves, unlike a market like the S&P, right, which is very range-bound. It's $10 per tick, okay, unlike markets like the NASDAQ or the YM, which are $5 per tick. So there's a bunch of different reasons why. And plus, the Russell is just the Russell. I mean, how can you not love a market that just goes wherever the hell it wants, right? As we call it, it begins rustling, right, in our live trade room, right? I'll quote my buddy Roy on that one. So looking at the Russell today, what happened, right? We were thinking it was going to be a little sloppy around 1100, didn't we? Last night's newsletter, I said, be aware, it's probably going to get stuck in the mud here around 1100. Not a problem at all, boy. This thing got stuck in the mud like a big monster truck, right? Just flying right through that mud. There was no mud there. What happened? Well, early this morning, rumors started circulating around the ECB in Europe, made it out west here to the U.S., and talking about a full-blown quantitative easing, a full-blown QE. And what that basically means is you've probably heard one or the other. They describe it as corporate buying or full-blown QE. Quantitative easing, QE, was made very popular, of course, a few years ago in the United States, because what the U.S. Fed did was they bought basically the bad debt from large corporations, government entities, got it off their balance sheets, put it on the Fed's balance sheet, and that allowed those struggling companies, struggling corporations, struggling banks, it allowed them to go out, recapitalize, refund new loans, and get off on a fresh start. That appears to be what they've been hinting at. And of course, it wouldn't be the ECB if less than 4 or 5 hours later we heard Draghi going, did we say that? No. You must have heard it. Yeah, no. We're not doing QE, right? So they backed off that pretty quickly. So this tells me there's some rumor mills flying around out there. Who the hell knows who's pushing the rumors around? I don't know who. I don't care who. But we know this may be a great selling opportunity right now. All right? As you can see, we're right into that 1110.6. What's my trend right now? What's my trend? This is a trick question. Give it a think. What's my trend? Well, we clearly had a strong downtrend, right? Trend was very strong down. That's easy to see. Lower lows, lower highs. But then we start to get this little guy right here, right? Start moving higher here. Remember what I said last night? Right now, we have that change in the personality here. We need to get and stay above that high. So we're going to most likely get a pullback here. That's why I said it's a great chance to sell, right? Short term, maybe long term here right now. Question is, if it holds and goes higher, then it becomes bullish. If it gets back below it, it's back to bearish again. So we're right up here right now. We're thinking by tomorrow we could be right back to where we thought we would be stuck in the mud today. So whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter to me why. All I care about is what's happening right now. So rumor mills start flying, price jumps up. Looks to me like we're right in the sweet spot here for a great sell zone there at 1110.8. Targets down below right now, very easy to find targets. Looking for shorts here, 1095.8, 1074.8, 1053.9, of course, the 1040 area here, okay? Very, very easy to see here. Jumps up. We are going to be looking closely here now at this 1095.8 area. If we go up, pull back, and go, now we know the bulls are in full control. Remember what I always say. Anyone can put together a one-day rally. Anyone. Any market, anytime, any news, any rumors, anything can happen, one-day rally. I want to see this continue. Okay? I'm still a seller right now on the mighty mini Russell. When you look at this chart, though, now we go a little bit faster time from the Russell. When you look at this chart, now we start to realize the only option is to be a seller. Right? If you were to tell me right now, Joe, I'm a buyer on the Russell right now, I'd say, okay, but don't do it right now. Why? Look where we are. All the way up at the highs. I don't like to buy the highs. I hope you don't either. Wait to buy at a pullback. Wait to buy at a discount. Buying 98.9, 95.8, buying 91.7, 1086.2, 1079.3, 1075. Those are great buy zones. And if I had to guess right now, I would say the best one here is probably right around this 1079.3, right? So big move up. Don't be surprised. Profit taking, right? The smart money's waiting for it, right, to buy later on. That's if you're a buyer right now, right? Right now, though, I'm looking short-term sell off that high. So we're up near the highs of this channel. Okay, very good spot, right, to be looking for profit on the longs. Bottom line, though, is a very hard time right now telling you to buy. We can easily see, bottom of the chart, we can easily see here, volume rising as the price rises. We do a lot of work on volume in our trade room. We do a lot of analyzing, right, of that volume, especially when we have range breakouts, failed breakouts, things like that. That gives us a clue as far as who's actually in control right now. Very easy to see those buyers are in control. However, remember, a rumor got this thing started. A rumor could easily fade out, and we could be right back to square one tomorrow. So don't go don't go guzzling the bullish Kool-Aid just yet. All right, turn off the television set. I'm sure all the perma bulls out there, all the patriots, right, on television are going to be talking about being a perma bull right now. As we look at the 16, then we'll move forward to the gold. Look at the 16, a lot of the same stuff, right? You can see we're at the top of the channel. This is the fastest of the anchor charts. And you can see I've got no shortage of sell zones, right? No shortage of sell zones. 065, 036, 026, 99.5, 91.7. I've marked up. We got some symmetry here at 026. Like I said last time, I think the best location will be the deep pullback here, right? Maybe back to 1100. Then up we go. Tough to tell right now, but we will know more tomorrow morning. We'll open up that trade room at 8 o'clock in the morning. One last thing here, guys. If you're looking at the anchor charts here right now, members, we talk about how to define an irrational market. All right, guys, keep that in mind. Keep it in mind, right? Sometimes these markets, they break free, they go off the chain, right, and they start going berserk. Once we get up through a couple levels here, we start thinking, okay, this is more of an irrational market. And what does that tell me? What is an irrational market? What does that even mean? Well, it basically means the same thing. The traders in the market, when it gets past irrational status, it's just like somebody going to a movie theater and yelling fire, right? Just like walking into a movie theater and yelling fire, right? Everyone's going to go bonkers, and all of a sudden, a wise crowd who can look at each other and communicate with each other all of a sudden becomes a very dumb crowd. And people do. Human beings are predictably unpredictable. Let's put it that way when things become irrational. Ultimately, we expect a correction after an irrational market, so we're no longer buying pullbacks after an irrational market. Okay? So if this thing jumps up overnight, really be patient here, waiting for a deep, deep pullback before you buy it again, because it's likely we're going to get a correction. I can't wait to see what happens to these E-minis tomorrow, the rest of the week. Again, rumor got it started. We'll see how it finishes. As you guys know, I'll be in my trade room tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, and we'll be trading right along with you guys. All right, over here from the mighty mini Russell to that funny yellow metal. Now, gold caught a bid today, but it wasn't because of fear. It wasn't because of concerns. It was just because of the dollar. The dollar right now is getting a much-needed pullback, right? We've had a very strong dollar the past few weeks. Why has that been? It's because of the euro. It's because of Asia, right? The dollar is the world's reserve currency. When the euro got pummeled the last few weeks, the dollar by default jumped up. That pushed gold lower all the way down below these January 1 lows. So we made new lower lows while that euro was getting killed. That's what pushed the dollar higher. And again, by default, gold also goes higher. I'm sorry, gold goes lower. Now, I don't know whether we want to say they're working things out in Europe, right? It's more like the boy that cried wolf at this point. It's like, what else is wrong? It's tough to get any worse, right? So everyone's kind of been saturated by this bad news out of Europe. So I think at this point, it's kind of gathering the new normal right now, and that, of course, as we heal the wounds in Europe, it's bringing that dollar down, pushing that gold up. I'm always a big believer that dollar correlation will usually help get you into setups here on the gold. I've been talking about this. This will be the third. I know. I thought you knew what you were doing. I thought I did, right? But this world is a little bit complicated right now. I was expecting a couple weeks ago for us to be up around that 66, but clearly there wasn't enough fear in the market to push that thing higher. Now we got to get that dollar pullback. Maybe that will get us up there to that 1266. To 1285. And again, that's where we'll look again here for more selling opportunities here on the gold. We're well above that key resistance at 38.9. Now we've got green light here going higher, right? So we know we're going to that 66.1, at least. Yeah, not quickly, but we're going that direction, right? It's been real slow on gold the past few days. Real quick here on the 32, you can see here we've got a very clear volume confirmation. I wouldn't say it's that. I mean, it's not that dramatic, but hey, the volume is not going lower. Let's put it that way, right? So the volume is confirming these highs right now. Very easy to see that. But again, if you've been watching gold with us the past few days, even the past probably 10 days here now, it's just been lifeless. I mean, it's been absolutely lifeless. You can definitely tell that. See, we saw the clue last week. And I was talking to some friends over dinner over the weekend about this, and they said, so what's the difference about the market right now? And I said, the difference? How about twice as much volume? Last week, we saw epic amounts of volume. I hate that term. I live in Southern California. Everybody abuses that term. We saw remarkable, much more adult language there, right? We saw remarkable, amazing amounts of volume. Okay, and what that told us was last week, we saw twice as much volume on the S&P. We saw, 75% more volume on the NASDAQ, more than twice the volume on crude last week. When you see that much more volume in the market, you know why. That's because pain got those people to get back into the market. Most of those traders that were getting in or getting out of positions were just asset managers. And they were going in there because of pain, right? Clients calling them and going, get me the hell out of this position or get me into this position. So all those people were forced into the market last week. That told us right away there was pain. There was abrasiveness. People were losing wealth, right, last week when that happened. That's what got the volume going. It made people get up in the middle of the night and put their trades on. Now we're seeing that kind of hangover effect. Now we're seeing that, okay, we made our moves last week. Now what do we do, right? And we're kind of feeling that working out right now on crude, gold, and again, if it wasn't for the rumor mill going on the ECB this morning, I think the E-minis would have been in the same position too. So we're kind of dealing with that hangover, that little bit of the, kind of the honeymoon period is over here. We're trying to get some traction here. Now, looking at the gold right now, you can easily see volume's confirming. It's slower than death, right? Slower than molasses uphill, if you will, right? In a cold day, real slow. But again, we're pushing higher. So we're going to keep on buying pullbacks. We're going to keep on waiting. I really don't care too much about the speed right now. It's just not that fun to trade. It's just not, crude was fun today. Russell was fun today. Gold was just like, ugh, right? Kind of a sleeper, right? Set the orders and just go grab a sandwich. I got buy zones below me, 1243.8, 1241, 1237. You guys can see them there. And of course, targets overhead here. If we go higher, 60.1, 67.9, right? Volume confirms. Just be patient on gold right now. Be patient on gold right now. And then last but not least, you'll see on the gold, my 16 anchor here on that funny yellow metal. You can see this has been a lot of the same, right? If you look back in time here, we were doing a lot of the same right now, right? Here's last week. Yeah. So we go new higher high. Right? And then, of course, consolidation. Once it gets really narrow, all the pressure builds up. Bam! Right? We get the break. This one made a new lower low. And if you recall, we had a buy zone here last week that went into and then jumped. So I'm expecting, no guarantee, obviously, but I would assume we're going to get a little more of the same. So stay patient tomorrow. And look, if you draw some trend lines off these highs, you'll see, right? There's your consolidation. Now, once we get down to that nitty-gritty, just be aware, bam, right? That's where it's likely going to come out. How do you trade that bam? How do you trade that, right, that jump? Well, it's actually quite easy. Draw the trend line, wait for the price to consolidate, wait for it to make a new high. Don't buy that high. Don't buy that high. Wait for it to pull back the same trend line and then buy it there. That's the play. Okay, that's the play. If you're really lucky, you'll get it to pull back to both trend lines, right? If you're really lucky, it'll pull back like this, right? Go up, key is new high, then pull back and you're gone, right? The key is that new high. You want to see that new high, but don't buy that high, right? Buy it after the pullback, okay? Now you guys got the information you need there for tomorrow. Again, buy zones here below, but unless we see something else that comes out here, unless things change here, I can't expect much more than anything else we've got here this week. So expect the consolidation, targets overhead. They're pretty much the same stuff we had in the 32 here, and you got some buy zones below. If you get down to this 1237, that's going to be a great buy down there, right? That's going to be a great buy all the way down at that low. Like I said last night, it's very difficult for me right now to think of the scenario where I'm selling gold, right? It's very difficult to think about the scenario where I say to sell gold right now. There's just too much up in the air. We don't have any definitive answers out of the ECB. We haven't seen crude oil rebound or finish where it wants to go yet. So, if somebody put a gun to my head and said, what direction you got on gold, I would say easily buying, easily long right now on gold. All right, and that has not been the case, at least not for me, over the past 6 months. This is the first time I've been bullish on gold here in a while. Moving on from that yellow metal here to the black gold, the Texas T here, crude oil futures. Now, I apologized last night. I want to make sure I apologize for wasting your time last night. In my stupor of getting this newsletter done, I apparently forgot my own medicine and hadn't rolled over on crude. So I really apologize if I wasted anyone's time last night on those newsletter charts. I wasted my own time, that's for sure, working on the 11.14 contract. Feel free next time to say, hey, Bozo, wake up over there. Rollover day. Sorry about that. We traded the 12.14. I just didn't have it in my newsletter last night. Anyways, foot firmly in mouth. Let's keep going. Looking at the crude here, what's happening? Well, we just talked about it, right? We had this big collapse last week. We talked about this all week last week, what's going on, right? Deflation, very big concerns about overall demand. Ebola, which should be snuffed out here soon. They've contained it in Africa now. Ebola has been contained, but that really interrupted. I mean, they were talking about banning flights in the U.S. for crying out loud. What do you think that would do for crude oil? Yeah, the demand will go a little bit lower. We heard from the weather. I'm drawing a blank here, but we heard the weather outlook for 2015, warmer weather on the horizon. So nothing is good here for crude prices. The only glimmer of hope for buyers on crude right now is that we heard a rumor. I think it was Syria, which of course we should make sure we trust that. Exactly. Rumors out of Syria are almost. I'll leave my opinions out to myself, but apparently there was a rumor going around today that the OPEC was going to do something to stop these lower prices. I don't believe it though. I don't believe it. I think there is personally, I think they are trying to keep these prices low right now to shake out the weak hands. It's a brilliant play. And what people don't realize is how fragile a lot of these countries' economies are. They depend on this black gold coming out of the ground. They depend on the byproduct of it. They depend on exporting it. They depend on the industry. And I'll tell you, there are some big countries out there with some big money to make. If they can keep these prices low through the end of the year, they'll drive everybody out of the market, and then next year they'll be able to clean up. Rumor has it right now that Saudi Arabia is negotiating an all-in contract with a lot of big consumers on crude oil, basically saying we're going to give you discounts, but you've got to buy volume from us. All right? Very interesting to see what's going to happen. I can't wait. These are the reasons why I love being a trader. All right? I don't care about any of this stuff when I'm trading the market, right? I'm a price action trader. I'm trading patterns. It's one of the beautiful parts of being a pattern trader. I don't even need to know this stuff. I don't even need to know this stuff, but I find the soap opera to be so entertaining, right? But just don't take it too seriously, okay? Don't trust a single thing you read on the internet, watch on television. It's all manipulated, but boy, is it entertaining, right? It's a modern day, what do they have? Days of our lives, right? Right? So it's definitely entertaining. Not sure how much we're going to use it for trading right now as far as pattern traders go. And remember, that's the best part of being a pattern trader is that you don't need to have 30 years experience and then apply it to what OPEC is thinking about right now. You don't need to do it. Just follow the trend, find the setup, find the entry pattern. We do it every day in our live trade room, and I would love to have you guys there with us. Come out and see us. Great way to start as a new trading career. You don't need a lot of experience that way. But anyways, like I said, enjoying the soap opera here that we're getting out of this. Crude drops, now we consolidate. This makes all the sense in the world, right? Crude ran a marathon in just a few days last week. I mean, literally 5% down 2 days in a row. Yeah, that is an ultra marathon back-to-back-to-back days that we did last week on crude. It was just unprecedented. It was incredible. Now, after running those two ultra marathons, you need to put the feet up on the desk and relax for a little bit. And that's exactly what's going on. And you know there are a lot of bean counters out there that are trying to put together long-term plans for those big asset managers, and that is most likely what's causing this sort of a lull right now. We haven't heard out of the East, we haven't heard out of the Middle East very much about this yet until this morning. We'll wait and see what happens. As you can see, we've got a bit of a range-bound market here. I've got a range high, 84.16, got a range low, 80.12, 79.62. This is where I expect us to be until something changes. Buy lows, sell highs, long-term trend. I want to be a seller here right now on those highs on crude. Zooming in a little bit closer now, we get a much better look here. Okay? Much better look here right now on crude. 32 anchor, you can see here's that wedge, right? So here's the wedge that we talked about before. Now you can see it front and center. Stay the heck away from the middle. Okay, if you want my advice, err on the side of sell, but you can buy the low, sell the high, all you want. Let's go from top to bottom here. Top to bottom. I've got up top here 87.18, 85.82, 85.55. We've got 84.16, and we have 83.38. So as price goes higher, I'm looking to sell it right back in. As price goes higher, selling it right back in. As price goes higher, selling it right back in. Okay, quite easy there. Now, to the downside, don't forget, you can use these as targets if you're short. Okay, so as we go lower here, 81.31, 80.12, 79.04, 77.60. Okay, so if we were to go higher here and then collapse, where would my targets be? Targets would be the green boxes, the green lines here. These make great targets, right, if we have the luxury of getting up in the highs, right, to get short. Okay? So be on the lookout here for crude. I'm still bearish as the dickens here on crude. But again, we're staying patient right now. Be patient on crude, patient on gold. And again, that Russell, only real option, the Russell right now this evening, is to be a seller in the short term, buying possibly tomorrow later in the session. All right? Don't forget, we're going to trade this live in real time with exact entries and exact exits. I give my students everything they need to know every step of the way. Come out and join me. How about some news tomorrow? Speaking of tomorrow, what do we have in the schedule for tomorrow? Tomorrow's schedule, Wednesday, October 22nd. We've got some news coming out of Japan. We've got news from our good friends down under. We've got our merchandise trade in Japan, 750, 830. We got the Aussie CPI. Be aware of that. If you're in Asia, be aware of that. If you're in London, I've got my consumer price index at 830. Retail sales jumping into the U.S. session. You'll notice very quiet in London tomorrow. So another scenario where we don't have a lot to work with in London. If you're a London-based trader, if you're not seeing it move, stay patient. You know, everybody's waiting to see what Europe's going to do next. So it wouldn't surprise me if London's a little bit sleepy tomorrow morning here, especially if they don't talk more about the QEs, right? Remember. But again, be on the lookout for the reaction to the news late tonight. And then the only thing I would think tomorrow morning in London would be if they get back talking about the QE again. So listen to those news headlines. And again, I'll be updating you guys when I open the trade room tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. But I would imagine if Draghi starts talking about QE again like he did this morning, we may see some percolating here in the London session. It looks like, though, tomorrow is all going to be focused on the U.S. session. You've got Red Star news galore, 8:30 consumer prices, 8:30 retail sales, 8:30 the BAC announcement, right? Just like the Fed announcement here in the U.S. Now, guys, those are two Canadian dollar news reports. Which market is highly correlated to news out of Canada? Ding, 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 right? Alex? I'll take crude oil for 1,000, Alex. Absolutely. It is crude oil futures. Why? Because they're going to export a ton of that black gold out of Canada. So big export industry in the oil market, right? So we know that news out of Canada, big movers for crude oil. Be aware of that tomorrow early morning, 8:30 a.m., 10 a.m., 10 a.m., pretty much all from Canada, except for that consumer prices. But then, oh man, right? Rats. We got inventories tomorrow. Well, I don't want to say rats. It's not a bad thing, but what do we know about inventory day? we know there's only 2 news events that directly apply to one market. One of them is tomorrow. The next one is the Thursday at 10:30 for natural gas inventories. Crude oil inventories are notorious for being very challenging before the news comes out on the market applies to. So be careful on crude tomorrow. We get all this great news out of the CAD at 8:30 tomorrow morning. Hopefully that's enough to get crude kind of off the bench and onto the field and playing tomorrow morning. Oftentimes it's very, very slow. Be patient tomorrow morning on crude oil. Don't force it if you're not seeing good personality. Okay, guys? So be aware tomorrow, crude oil inventories. I'm going to go over how to trade it and what our plan's going to be tomorrow when we open up our trade room. All right? We're staying patient before. And then one thing we always talk about, right? Be patient after that news comes out. And remember, almost always, the initial reaction after inventories is the opposite of what the long-term reaction will be. Okay? You want more information on that? Come out and see me tomorrow before 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we'll talk all about it. We got some news tomorrow night out of Asia. We got some news out of China. More news from our good friends down in New Zealand. So we'll talk more about that news tomorrow night on the newsletter. But you can see, though, a very, very busy day tomorrow. And again, with all the rumors flying out there, who knows what tomorrow will bring. It's going to be an exciting session nonetheless. Don't forget, guys, before I let you guys go here today, don't forget to grab a copy of your charts here for tonight. Don't forget to grab your free pass. Come out and see me in the trade room tomorrow. And don't forget to join the nightly newsletter mailing list. And as always, guys, I want to thank you so much for sticking around today with me. Thanks for watching the newsletter. We have a free trial here at School of Trade. We got 3 levels of membership, and we offer lifetime membership. That's right. No more paying monthly fees for BS indicators and bad trade calls. Lifetime membership in our trade room. Once you're in for life. We got someone standing by here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, who would love to give you more information. Join the free trial. Call the office, get more information. Come out and see me tomorrow in the trade room. And you guys have a fantastic Tuesday evening. Right? And again, I'm going to remind you, Halloween is right around the corner. Don't be the last person picking out that costume. Guys and gals, my name is Joseph. Have a great time tonight with the World Series. We'll see you all tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.